こんにちは、沖縄県企業局水質管理事務所の柿野花です。
Hello, I'm Kakino Hana from the Water Quality Control Office of the Okinawa Prefectural Enterprise Bureau, or
よろ
OPEB.
しくお願いします。本日は
The topic of this session is water quality management, especially for potable or drinking water.
まず
Here are the topics I'll be covering. I'll start with background on the establishment of water quality standard, followed by water quality standard for drinking water, water quality control system, issues on drinking water quality, and lastly, response of consumers. Now, let me start with the background of the establishment of water quality standard. I'll start with history of water pollution control, followed by beginning of chlorination, pollution of water resource escalated, occurrence of offensive taste and other trouble, from trust in chlorination to distrust, groundwater contamination, and lastly, in quest for safe and tasty water. The establishment and tightening of water quality standards closely follows the history of water pollution control. Waterborne disease outbreaks, cholera outbreak for example, occurred in London in 1854 and in Yokohama, Japan in 1882. In response, chlorination began in London and Japan followed suit, with two cities of Tokyo and Yokohama in 1921. With the establishment of the Water Supply Act in 1957, all potable water supply services in Japan were required to conduct chlorination. Meanwhile, rapid growth of heavy chemical industries that accompanied economic development during the end of 1950s to 1970s polluted air and rivers and led to outbreaks of so-called pollution-related diseases, including Minamata disease caused by severe mercury poisoning and Itai-Itai disease caused by cadmium poisoning. At present, there are issues with carcinogenic substance of trihalomethane, which is formed due to trace organic chemicals, eutrophication of dams, and chlorination, offensive odor and taste due to geosmin and 2-methyl-isoboniol, or 2-MIB, and agricultural chemicals. In Japan, chlorination facilities were introduced in metropolitan areas in the 1920s at times of infectious disease outbreak. At that time, chlorine injection was considered as an emergency measure when there was an ongoing or potential outbreak, and injection rate was 0.1 to 0.3 ppm. After Japan's surrender in the Second World War in 1945, water quality management in water supply service began to be conducted under the supervision of stationed U.S. military, and constant chlorination was instructed. Residual chlorine concentration required at that time was high, 2 ppm at water treatment plant and 0.4 ppm at downstream end of pipes. In addition, as a countermeasure against black-colored water due to manganese, pre-chlorination was instructed because injection of oxidants can oxidize manganese to insoluble forms and make it possible to remove them by filtration. Since the end of 1950s, water demand increased sharply along with rapid economic growth. Regrettably, pollution of water source intensified due to wastewater from factories and grey water from households discharged into rivers. Minamata disease and Itai-Itai disease that I mentioned earlier were caused due to such water pollution. At the same time, the amount of chlorine added during treatment process continued to increase due to increase of ammonia nitrogen and other organic substances in raw water. As a result, the chlorine odor of tap water intensified. While chlorination was quite effective in dealing with infectious disease outbreaks, it was detrimental in terms of taste. Until the promulgation of Water Pollution Prevention Act in 1970, untreated industrial effluent was directly discharged into rivers and oceans. The issue with offensive taste and odor mostly occurred with water from dams and lakes and became a nationwide problem in the 1960s. It occurred in Lake Biwa in western Japan, the largest lake in Japan, in 1969, and in Lake Sagami in eastern Japan in 1973. Eutrophication at source water increased algae and actinomycetes, and other compounds they produced, such as geosmin and 2-MIB, were the cause of the problem. The odor detection threshold is as low as 5 nanogram per liter, and since odor compounds cannot be removed with treatment with coagulation, sedimentation, and filtration, their presence at source water is quite problematic. Other compounds tend to be detected at high concentration in summer, when water temperature is high. Occasional occurrence of such odor has been a problem at our source water as well. In the 60s and 70s, water suppliers considered that chlorine treatment could disinfect any water, believing chlorination was the panacea. People called this era, sarcastically, the age of faith in chlorine. However, this faith had to be reconsidered, as the discovery of chlorination deriving the carcinogenic trihalomethane. Detection of trihalomethane in drinking water also led to the gradual understanding of the existence of various disinfection byproducts in the drinking water, such as haloacetic acids. Ironically, most of such chemicals were organohalide compounds, which were generated by chlorination performed for disinfection. In 1982, groundwater contamination survey was conducted by the Ministry of Environment and revealed that it was widespread in Japan due to industrially mass-produced and widely used trichloroethylene, tetrachloroethylene, and other chemical compounds. In the same survey, nitrate nitrogen has the highest detection rate. 10% of all the specimens investigated exceeded the standard nitrate nitrogen concentration of 10 milligrams per liter. Nitrate nitrogen is known to cause health problems, especially to infants like cyanosis, and is therefore included in the items for drinking water quality standards in Japan as well. The origin of nitrate nitrogen is diverse, including grey water, livestock waste, factory wastewater, and fertilizer. Countermeasures against each cause is necessary for pollution prevention. In response to consumer demand for safe and tasty water, survey and research for advanced water purification began since 1980s. Advanced water purification includes biological treatment that applied river's self-purification effect, ozonation that breaks down organic matters by oxidation, and activated carbon treatment that utilizes its adsorption capacity. We introduced the advanced treatment methods at Chatan Water Purification Plant in 1994, namely biological treatment for nitrate nitrogen control and ozonation and activated carbon treatment for trihalomethane control. It was one of the first of its kind nationwide. Although source water for the plant had the inflow of household grey water as well as wastewater from livestock industry, we succeeded in producing safer water by reducing formation of trihalomethane and other organic halides with advanced treatment. For your information, here are the tasty water indicators put together by a research group established by the Ministry of Health. Please note that those indicators are only meant as conditions for tasty water, and it's different from water quality standards. Evaporation residue should be within 30 to 300 milligrams per liter. Too much of it increases bitterness, while appropriate amount creates mild taste. Hardness should be within 10 to 100 milligrams per liter. Water would taste mild if the value is low, but some people may prefer hard water. Free carbonate should be within 3 to 30 milligrams per liter. It adds refreshing fishiness to water, but too much of it can intensify sharp taste. Organic matters should be less than 3 milligrams per liter. Too much of it causes offensive taste and odor. Odor intensity should be 3 or lower. Higher than that will give water discomforting smell. Residual chlorine concentration should be less than 0.4 milligrams per liter. It gives water chlorine smell, and too much concentration worsens the taste. Water temperature should be less than 20 degrees Celsius. It is the most important factor for the taste of water, and water of 10 to 15 degrees Celsius makes it refreshing to drink. This table compares the data on taste-related items from our water treatment plants. Underlying values show items that didn't meet the tasty water requirements. All the plants had satisfactory results for all items, except free carbonate, residual chlorine concentration, and water temperature. The chlorine concentration on the table is high, because it is the initial concentration at the treatment plants required to ensure residual chlorine concentration of higher than 0.1 milligram per liter at water tap. As for water temperature, it is impractical to cool the water down to 20 degrees Celsius or lower at plant exit. As for free carbonate, it is due to the source water characteristics. Let me move on to the drinking water quality standards. I'll first talk about the Article 4 of Water Supply Act, followed by basic principle in setting the standards, structure of drinking water quality standards, then methods and frequency of water quality tests. According to the Article 4 of Water Supply Act, drinking water supplied through waterworks must meet the following requirements. First, it is not contaminated by pathogenic organisms, nor does it contain organisms or compounds that indicate pathogenic organism contaminations. Second, it does not contain toxic substances such as cyanides, mercury, etc. Third, it does not contain copper, iron, chlorine, phenol, and other compounds above a allowable amount. Fourth, it is not abnormally acidic or basic. Fifth, it should not have foul odor, except which resulting from disinfection. Lastly, appearance should be clear and with no color. Further details related to each requirement are prescribed by Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare ordinances. Water quality standards are set under the Article 4 of the Water Supply Act, and water suppliers are mandated to supply the water that meets these standards. In the water quality standards, items that are detected or can possibly be detected in purified water at the level of 10% or higher of the assessment value, which is equivalent of WHO guideline value, are included. However, considering past history, chemical compounds such as mercury and cyanides are also included. In addition, due to such reasons as regional characteristics, kind of water source, and treatment methods, any item that could interfere with protection of human health or daily life is, even with low incidence rate at national level, included in the water quality standards set forth in the Article 4 of the Water Supply Act. Mandatory items in water testing required for all water utilities are limited to basic items. For the remaining items, some clauses in the Ordinance for Enforcement of the Water Supply Act permit each water utility to reduce test frequency or omit the test within reasonable limits. Meanwhile, in order to ensure appropriateness and transparency of water testing, water utilities are obliged to draw up and publish water testing plan required under Ordinance for Enforcement of the Water Supply Act, Article 15, Item 6, with a list of items to be examined, or justification if omitted. The Japanese drinking water quality standard consists of 3 categories: drinking water quality standards, complementary items for water quality management, and items for further study. Let me begin with drinking water quality standards. With 2003 Ministerial Ordinance on Water Standard, drinking water quality standards are revised to include 51 items. The ordinance specifies standard values and testing methods to be used for determining water quality. As I mentioned earlier, water utilities are obliged to supply water that meets these standards. Items through 1 to 31 listed on the ministerial order are included from a health protection standpoint based on the intake level that would not cause adverse health effects even with lifelong consumption. Meanwhile, items through 32 to 51 are included as potential inconveniences for daily use, such as color and odor. Potential inconveniences for daily use mean abnormal level of color, taste, odor, foam, etc. High content of metals such as iron, copper, and manganese add color to water, whereas sodium and chloride ion influences taste. Meanwhile, anionic surfactants in detergents cause foam on water, and the presence of compounds such as phenol and geosmin causes odor. Next, let me explain the complementary items for water quality management category. This category is created for certain items that require regular monitoring for water quality management. While they are considered unnecessary to be included in the drinking water quality standards, or their addition to the standards was postponed at the moment in relation to toxicological evaluations, they have nevertheless been detected in the general environment or have a potential to be detected in purified water in the future due to their large amount of use. In other words, this is a category for items with uncertain or provisional toxicity value or insufficient detection value for immediate addition to the drinking water quality standards. To be specific, items included in this category require regular monitoring to ensure safety of drinking water well into the future. It is therefore possible that these items will be included in the drinking water quality standards a few years from now. The items consist of agricultural chemicals and other items that may affect human health, as well as items to ensure provision of quality water, such as calcium and magnesium as indicators of hardness. Although there are 114 agricultural chemicals being monitored, they are categorized as one item. There are a total of 27 items included in this category. Those items require testing that is equivalent to that of drinking water quality standards, though conducted independently at each water utility's discretion. Next, let me explain the items for further study category. The category is for the items that cannot be classified into the two categories I've explained so far. It is because their toxicological evaluations are provisional, or their detection level and frequency in purified water are unclear. The Health Ministry instructed that necessary items be selected and tested in accordance with the local situation. Here are the current number of test items for drinking water. The drinking water quality standards have 51 items, in which 31 of them are related to health, and 20 are related to desirable drinking water characteristics. The complementary items for water quality management have 27 items, including 114 agricultural chemicals categorized as one item. The items for further study have 45 items. At our Water Quality Control Office, we conduct testing of 51 items for drinking water quality standards, 25 for complementary items, 79 agricultural chemicals, and 35 additional items that we independently designated. This diagram shows the relationship among the three categories of water quality standard. The process to evaluate new or unregulated substances is as follows. First, they are classified into the items for further study category, and information on toxicity and detection status are gathered. When such information is obtained, they are classified into the higher complementary items for water quality management category. Then, whenever necessary, they can be reclassified into the highest drinking water quality standards. This process is reviewed every year with latest scientific knowledge, and existing testing items and standard values are revised almost every year as well. Let me move on to the next topic, our water quality management system. As a general rule, we conduct testing for items of the drinking water quality standards and the complementary items for water quality management by ourselves for the following reasons. Prompt response to pollution incidents. Reflecting test results to water quality management without delay. Maintaining and improving our technical skills, and prompt implementation of required actions for management. When water quality incidents at water source happen, such as mass fish die-offs, outsourcing water testing will take too much time for identification of cause and recovery. By conducting the testing by ourselves, we can respond to incidents promptly and avoid supply interruptions as much as possible. Prompt testing also enables us to take required actions to prevent failure to meet drinking water quality standards and ensure safe and quality water supply. As a measure to ensure accuracy and reliability of water testing, we obtained the WaterWorks GLP certification in May 2009. GLP stands for Good Laboratory Practice. The WaterWorks GLP is a set of standards for a laboratory to be able to prove their proper execution of tests and analysis, and those labs that met those standards are certified. Apart from the WaterWorks industry, other industries such as food, pharmacy, and chemistry also have established GLP for their labs. WaterWorks GLP is a system in which the concept of GLP is applied to the drinking water testing in order to ensure the accuracy and reliability of the results from Japan WaterWorks Association certified water testing. OPEB's Water Quality Control Office manages water quality for all of our source waters and purified water. At the office, we mainly conduct monthly ministry ordered tests for all source waters and regular tests for raw, purified, and distributed water from every purification plant. We also conduct research on source water management and treatment method. In addition, Nago, Chatan, and Nishihara water purification plants have one water quality officer stationed for testing required during treatment process, as well as for helping plant operators to solve issues with treatment process. From here, I explain issues with our drinking water quality. Let me start with water source. First, I'll talk about rivers. Rivers in the northwestern part of the island is a good water source with no pollution from gray water or factory wastewater. However, we need to be cautious of red soil runoff after rain, which tends to cause increase in turbidity and organic matter concentration, as well as occasional increase in odorous substance of geosmin. Regarding the Gabusoka River in the northern area, it is unsuitable as source water due to pollution with gray water. We discontinued water intake from this river due to issues of pollution, water flow rate, and saltwater intrusion. As for the Hija, Nagata, and Tengan rivers, they are located in the central area of the island and are polluted with gray water and wastewater from livestock sheds. Influenced from Ryukyu limestone strata, their water also has high hardness. Water from these rivers is treated with advanced water treatment system at Chatan Water Purification Plant and become drinking water that meets drinking water quality standards. Next source water I'd like to talk about is dams. Dams used for drinking water source include 9 national government managed dams, 1 prefectural government managed dam, and 1 OPEB managed dam. 4 dams located in the north are integrated with Fukuji Dam, and intake facility is located at Fukuji Dam. Water from Fukuji Dam has good quality and accounts for the highest ratio in our total water intake. Kanna Dam's high organic matter concentration causes trihalomethane issue with normal treatment process. Water from the dam is therefore transmitted to the Ishikawa water purification plant for advanced water treatment. Kin Dam has a problem of intensifying pollution and eutrophication. Though its water is therefore unsuitable for drinking water source, advanced water treatment at the Ishikawa water purification plant enables us to improve the quality enough to meet drinking water quality standards. Water from prefectural government-managed Kurashiki Dam, as well as OPEB-managed Yamashiro Dam, has likewise high organic matter concentration, so advanced water treatment is conducted at Chatan Water Purification Plant in order to prevent trihalomethane formation. Next water source I talk about is groundwater. We have a group of 24 wells located in the central area of the island. Although it doesn't have other problems such as turbidity, its hardness is quite high, 300 milligrams per liter, because the water is taken from limestone aquifer. Since soft water is relatively more popular in Japan, hardness reduction facility was introduced in Chatan Water Purification Plant, where the water from the wells is treated. We also have a mercury removal facility, since mercury pollution was found at some of the wells. Next, let me explain the issue with bromate. Bromate is formed from bromide ions reaction with ozone during ozonation step of advanced water treatment. Bromate is one of the items included in drinking water quality standards, and its standard value is 10 micrograms per liter. In terms of toxicity, some animal research reported that bromate caused liver tumor. Raw water treated at Chatan water purification plant tends to have high content of bromide ion, as much of it comes from the rivers that flow through limestone aquifer. Under the condition of high dissolved ozone concentration, treated water often failed to meet the standard due to high level of bromate formed. Fortunately, we succeeded in resolving this issue by controlling the dissolved ozone concentration to lower than 0.1 mg per liter, and thereby keeping bromate level under the standard value. Ozonation was originally introduced to control trihalomethane. Failing to do so due to low dissolved ozone concentration was a concern, but we confirmed otherwise, even with concentration of less than 0.1 mg per liter. Lastly, let me introduce reactions from consumers. Rapid economic growth worsened river water quality due to inflow of factory wastewater and grey water. As a result, many consumers installed water purifier at home as a means of precaution. According to the annual activities of Japan Water Purifier Association, the first wave of purifier boom came in the early 1970s, the second in the first half of 1980s, and the third in the late 1980s. Even today, sales of bottled water are increasing, while consumers who drink tap water are decreasing. Possible reasons behind it include change in consumer preference, increasing demand for healthy water, and concerns over tap water quality. We take these consumer responses seriously and are determined to further improve drinking water quality.
ご清聴ありがとうございました。
Thank you.